Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. And this is going to be a review of Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 12, Is There Someone Else? Now, I am finally caught up with Married at First Sight. I hadn't watched any of it at all this season, so I had to binge watch all these episodes within the past 2 weeks, I would say. Yeah, maybe 2 weeks. I binge watched all of the episodes. I'm finally caught up to the most current episode, so let's get into it. So let's start off with Merla and Gil. Merla and Gil, I feel like they're going to be just fine. I think on decision day they will choose to stay married. I think they're really good together. I think they look fantastic together, and I think their personalities fit. I think they need each other. I think Gil is a very manly man kind of guy, very masculine. He's a caretaker, he's a provider, he's a hard worker, and I think he's the kind of person that likes to spoil his woman. You know, he may act like he complains about Merla being really spoiled, and he calls her princessa or princess, and but he likes it. He likes to spoil her. He likes to put a smile on her face. He likes to get her what she wants. He enjoys doing those things for her. And I think Merla, she is slowly, softening up a little bit, because she came off as really set in her ways. She came off as extremely spoiled, like not willing to change, but she is changing. She's changing slowly, but she's definitely changing. And I think the reason why she's been single for so long is because when men see how she is with her spoiled ways and her bougie ways, maybe they jump ship. But because Gil is committed to her, he's married to her, and he wants to make it work, he's able to, he survived the what do they call it when you, like, he survived the rough part of Merla. He survived the rough part, and now he's getting to see maybe the softer side of her, the more human side of her. And because he's willing to stick it through with her, she's kind of bending a little bit. For example, she wasn't crazy about the dog at all. I really thought that was going to be a deal breaker for them, and now she actually is walking the dog, and she's feeding the dog, and the dog is keeping her company, and she wants her own dog. So they're really good together. I think they are fantastic together. I like that couple. They kind of give me the hopes of Amani and Woody from the New Orleans season. Now, they talk about apartment hunting, and I think they were having breakfast in the morning, and they were talking about, how Gil, his lease is ending and they need to find a place together. And Mirla said that she wanted to have she wants to live in a new complex. She wants a new apartment. And, they joke about that, how she always wants to have the latest and greatest and the newest. And later on, when she's talking to one of her friends on FaceTime, she said that Gil was able to find an apartment that, she would actually like. And she talked about all the amenities it had. It had like 1,000-acre, space around it, 1,000 or 100-acre space. I think it was 1,000-acre, I'm not sure. Space around the complex for all kinds of activities and whatnot. The gym has the trainer thing where it's like a full-length mirror, and the trainer is on the mirror and training you in your workout. The gym has that, and so she's really excited about that. So that's good. And Gil meets with his friend Christian, and he talks about how Merla had said she wasn't going to change her lifestyle, but I think she's not going to change completely. I don't think that she will ever be a Walmart kind of girl, but she's definitely bending in some areas, and she's bending in the most important areas. And also, the friend asked Gil if they had consummated their marriage, and Gil said no, not yet, but he's not tripping about that. He knows that things are moving in the right direction and they're going where they need to go. So he's not worried about that at all. So that's Merla and Gil. And I think that this couple is doing really, really good so far. Let's go to Michaela and Zach. So it starts off with them doing an activity with the bubble ball. Everything about that was cute, whatever. They had fun doing the bubble ball, soccer or whatever it was. And after they were done, they asked each other what was the happiest moments of their marriage so far. And Michaela said that the happiest moment for her was when Zach came home from being quarantined, because when everyone went to their honeymoon, Zach tested positive for COVID, and Michaela came back home to Houston, and then Zach had to stay in Florida until he was cleared. And then when he came home, that's when, she said that was the happiest moment, to open up the door and to see him there. And he said that the happiest moment for him was at the wedding when he was dancing in front of her. She was sitting in the chair, and it was the part, I guess, when the groom is standing up in front of the wife. And I'm thinking it's the time where he would get the garter belt with his mouth, but I'm not sure. But he said he was dancing in front of her, and when his friends came to dance behind him, she cried. I think she thought that was a sweet moment. Later on, Michaela meets with her sister. They talk about how her and Zach are figuring each other out, and they're learning to communicate better. And Michaela says that she told her sister that she actually loves him. She's developing feelings for him. And she was basically telling her sister that, the whole process of this whole married at first sight thing is that they just have to learn each other, and they have to figure things out about each other. And so her and Zach, they're at that stage where they're figuring each other out. And she said that Zach communicates to her the way that she needs to be communicated to. So like, he just tells her, he's really direct with her. He doesn't, like in the beginning, he kind of, he would beat around the bush a little bit and things were not clear, but now he's very much more direct, and he says exactly what's on his mind. And if something about Michaela is bothering him, he'll tell her straight up, what the issue is, what's bothering him. And so he communicates more directly now. And she says that's exactly what she needs. And then they did a cute project together where they spelled out their names, and each letter was supposed to mean something. All of that was really cute. And the good part about that scene was that this was the first time that Zach had expressed that he definitely saw a future, because when he used a poem, and certain letters, of course, certain words coincided with the letters in her name, and he did it in a poem form. And part of the poem, he talked about how he definitely saw a future with them together. He sees them, growing together, and this was the first time that he expressed love towards Michaela, that he might be falling in love with Michaela. And he did that through the poem, and that was really sweet, and she liked the poem, and that was a really cute moment. So things are looking up for Zach and Michaela, but let's be guarded with them. Now we're on to Bao and Johnny. Okay, so they're cooking in the kitchen, and Bao is talking about her happy drawer, and where she keeps all of her little toys. And this is an attempt for her to be more flirty with Johnny, because Johnny had said that sometimes when he tries to flirt with her, when he tries to be romantic with her, she responds in a really girly, immature kind of way, with the laughing and the giggling, and she talks in her little baby voice, and that's a real turnoff for him. So when she was talking about, her little toys, and hopefully that she'll be able to, take out her toys with him, he liked that, because this is more of a woman, showing her more mature woman side, flirty side, as a grown woman with a grown man. And that's what he wants, and he liked that about her. And then they play this game called Truth or Sip, where, you ask a question, and if you don't want to tell the truth, you sip, and if you want to tell the truth, you tell the truth. And so she asked him, would he still want to be married on decision day? And he sipped, because he probably didn't know the answer. And when Johnny asked her, she said that she would still want to be married on decision day. And then they hugged, and when they hugged, Johnny whispers to her, "I'm trying." And she says, like, "Yeah, I know." So up until that moment, it seemed like Johnny is really, really struggling with life with Bao, and struggling with his feelings, and how he feels about her, and what he wants out of this relationship. And he just seems overall unhappy. Then they're eating dinner together, because they were cooking dinner. So it was time to eat the dinner, and she was really nervous about whether or not he would like it, and he ended up liking it. And then they talk about how much effort they're both putting into the relationship. And Johnny says that, he's putting in a lot of effort. He does the date nights, he tries to be romantic, he tries to do these really over-the-top things to show her how much he cares. And then he says that he doesn't feel like she's reciprocating, that she's doing the same. And she was like, "Well, I don't do those big grandiose things like you do, planning this, romantic date night and all of that, but I show you that I care and that I think about you with the little things that I do every day, like the meal prep and the cooking and the laundry and making sure that the fridge is stocked. And she says, so I try to do things to let you know that I care about you and that I think about you every day. So we might not be doing the same thing, but it's what I'm doing is not any less than what you're doing. And he basically didn't see it that way. He was like, laundry, groceries, I can do that on my own. That's not really showing me that you love me or that you're putting in an effort into the relationship. And then Johnny ended up, so later on, they were having this scene with the producers, and Johnny goes into the bedroom, and while she's, doing her little interview part with the producer, you don't hear him cussing, but you hear all the bleeping because he's in the bedroom having a serious tantrum. And then he ended up leaving that night. He didn't even sleep in the apartment that night. And the next day, they were supposed to go to a family barbecue. His family was hosting a barbecue, and they were both supposed to go there together. And Bao had every intention of going because she was practicing saying his family members' names in Mandarin. And so she had every intention of going, but he called her that day and told her that he didn't want her to go to the family barbecue. And I was like, that is just so cruel. Like, how could you do that to your wife, knowing that y'all were supposed to go there together? She was supposed to, spend time with the family again. Y'all are married. Y'all are trying to bond. Y'all are trying to integrate into each other's family. This was a great opportunity for people to have a chance, to have another opportunity to sit down and talk with Bao and get to know her, for her to get to know him. And then he just absolutely nixed the whole thing and told her he didn't want her to come. And when he went to the barbecue by himself, his family asked him, why didn't Bao come? And he tells his family that, well, we're going through some things right now. We're just trying to figure things out. And then he tells his family how, he's not really happy. She's not what he really expected. She's not, the woman for him. That her idea of putting in the effort into a relationship is by doing his laundry. He doesn't see that as an effort. And I kind of feel like he misrepresented the whole laundry thing. Not that, okay, he made it seem like her idea of being romantic was doing the laundry. I think that's how he presented it to his family, that, her idea of being romantic is doing my laundry. I can do my own laundry. And I don't think that's how it was. I think when she was talking about the laundry, it wasn't a conversation about romance. I think it was a conversation about how much of an effort are you putting into the relationship to make the relationship work? How do you show your partner that you care? And I think her idea was the little things that I do for you every day. For example, I do your laundry, I fold it, I put it away for you. And which was legit. I saw nothing wrong with that, because he can definitely do his own laundry and she could definitely just do her own. He does his own, but she's taking that extra step to do it for him. And a lot of husbands I would appreciate that. So I don't understand why he kind of presented it like, oh yeah, her idea of being romantic is doing the laundry. And it's like, that's not what she meant. I don't think that's what the whole conversation was about. And then when he has a conversation with his aunt one-on-one, he tells his aunt, how he's struggling and that he had this ideal expectation of what the perfect wife would be for him. And he wanted to get those, he was hoping to have those feelings that you get when you have like a high school crush. And his aunt was like, but you're not in high school, and you have, your expectations are just too high. And maybe you should have gone into this with no expectations, and maybe then you would have been, pleasantly surprised. But you have these huge, grandiose expectations, and anybody would be disappointed if they were like, oh, my perfect mate should be like this and like this and like that. And then you get a real human and they can't live up to that. And of course you're going to be disappointed. And so I thought it was a really missed opportunity that he didn't bring Bao to the barbecue. Because if you do decide to stay together, this would have been just a great opportunity for his family and for Bao to bond. And then what's so bad about Bao? Like the way he was presenting her to his family, it's like, what is so bad about her? She's attractive, she's accomplished, she's educated, she's funny. She's not one of those really seriously educated, intellectual type people that can never, relax and let loose. She lets loose. We can see it when she wants to talk like a baby and act like a little girl. So she knows how to have a good time. She's always concerned about him every time, like when he was having his tantrum, when he came out of the bedroom after, cussing up a storm, when he came out of the bedroom and he was standing there, she was right there next to him, close to him. She was holding his arm. She wanted to know what can she do to make it better. She wanted to know what was bothering him, where she could have just kept her distance and said, I don't know what's wrong with him. She was really trying to make an effort. I have no idea what. And then also another issue that I have, and I didn't talk about this because I didn't review the last episode, but in the last episode, when they were all having dinner together, when all the couples got together for dinner, and he completely threw her under the bus, when she was telling the couples that, she was trying to make things good by cooking and baking and gourmet cooking, and then he was just making these faces for everybody to see. Obviously, he was trying to make a scene. He was making all these faces. He was tearing up the rose petals, and there was like this huge pile of rose petals on his plate to show that he was like in some serious distress and just really acting out. And he tells Jose later, and then he storms out. Then he gets up and he leaves to go use the bathroom. And then he leaves and he goes to use the bathroom, I guess, and he came back. And I didn't like how he threw the paper towel on the chair instead of in a trash bin. But anyways, so he's outside talking to Jose, and Jose is like, dude, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, she's a liar. She's a liar. She does not cook for me. We have microwave dinners every night. She's such a liar. And why are you, if you didn't like what she said, if you didn't agree with what your wife said, I think what he should have done was just kept it cool, calm, and collected in front of these folks. And then when you go home, have a conversation with your wife and have a conversation and say, you said that you cook all these gourmet meals for me and you bake and you do all this and you don't do that. Why would you tell people that? Instead of acting out in public and trying to make your wife look like she's some raging pathological liar. So, moving on with Bao and Johnny. So then they have a meeting with Pastor Cal, and he is, once again, I guess he's just a very emotional person. He can't control himself. So Pastor Cal is asking him, what's wrong? Why are you not happy? Why are you looking like this? Why are you sad? And he struggles. I don't know how long it took him to finally say, because when Pastor Cal was like, talk to me, I feel like an abnormally long time had passed, because I feel like Pastor Cal is a very patient guy and he wouldn't force someone to talk if they weren't ready to talk. So if Pastor Cal had to ask him, come on, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. I feel like Johnny was quiet for a very, very, very long time. So he finally says that he wishes he was married to someone. He says that he's married to someone that's not right for him. And that he wasn't happy with her. And that he talked about how when they all went out with the couples that she lied. He called her a liar. And he was like, why would you tell people that you cook these gourmet meals for me when you don't? And in front of Pastor Cal, Bao was like, well, didn't we cook gourmet meals together? And Johnny admitted, yes, we cooked them together, but you're not cooking these meals for me. And then Pastor Cal was like, this is stupid. So did she cook or did she not cook these gourmet meals? And Johnny said she cooked them, but we cooked them together. Okay, so what is wrong with that? Like, why would you make it look like she just did nothing at all and like she just concocted this whole entire fabrication of cooking gourmet meals for you? Because Johnny made it seem like she didn't do that. This didn't happen at all, but it happened. But they did it together, which is, I'm thinking, is not even better. I mean, you want to bond with her, you want to spend time with her. You always talk about how you want to do things with her. He got on her case in this episode about how, well, when you wake up in the morning, why don't you have coffee with me? Why don't you invite me to do yoga? Okay, so y'all are cooking gourmet meals together, and you're still not happy about that? Like, what? He's strange. And Pastor Cal was basically trying to say that Johnny was sabotaging the relationship because you're nitpicking. You're nitpicking her. And Pastor Cal basically says, if you're trying to sabotage this relationship, is it because you're interested in someone else? Because I'm seeing signs here that you're distracted, that something is distracting you. Is there someone else? Hence the title of the episode. And Johnny was like, no, there's no one else. There's no one else. And so, like, why are you sabotaging your relationship? Why are you nitpicking about whether she cooked it alone, whether y'all cooked it together? And he was saying some really mean things about her. He said that she wasn't genuine. He was basically saying that she's a liar and that she's fake, because he says that when we're out in public around other people, she's not like that when we're just me and her together. Well, a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people kind of change themselves a little bit, especially when you're around people that you're not really familiar with. Maybe, you have a little bit of social anxiety. I don't know. But a lot of people are a little bit different in public than they would be in private. That's not anything unusual. She doesn't have split personalities or multiple personalities. She's just human. And he said some really mean things to her. And Pastor Cal, I liked how he called him out on that. And he basically told Johnny that he wasn't being fair to Bao, and he was just making up excuses, and he was trying to find a way to discredit their relationship. And then he had Bao looking like a whole pathological liar out there. So at the end of it all, Pastor Cal says, you know what? You have no idea how lucky you are. I'm paraphrasing. You have no idea how lucky you are. Bao is a strong, confident woman. She's not a quitter, because the way you've treated her and the things that you said, any woman would have ran for the hills. Any woman would have ran the hell away from you. But she stayed, because she sees something in this relationship. She sees something in you. She has confidence in you that you are the man for her. So when he was complimenting Bao began to cry. And Pastor Cal asked her, why are you crying? And she said, because of the things that you just said about me. And I guess because she's not used to hearing those things from her own husband. She's not used to him saying anything positive about her. He's constantly criticizing her and making her feel like she's inferior, that she's not doing much. And it's just crazy. And then when he was telling his friend, I think it was in the previous episode, how she was so when they did that painting project together, and Bao was like, everything had to be perfect. And he was like, she wanted everything to be perfect. She wanted everything to be lined up. And I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm just trying to, I didn't care about how it looked. Well, because I guess of her trying to make it perfect, it turned out to be a damn good painting, because I saw it on the wall, and it was a really nice painting. And good enough to put up on the wall. I'm pretty sure he had no objections of it going up on the wall. And it's just like, he is nitpicking her. He is trying to sabotage the relationship, and he is cruel to her. Then later on, they have a talk in bed, and Johnny expects everything to fall in place, but doesn't understand that they have to learn each other. So they have this conversation in bed, and from what I took from it is that Johnny basically he thought that as soon as he got married, everything was just going to just fall into place. It's going to be the perfect marriage. And he doesn't understand that they have to learn each other. They have to figure things out, like any relationship, like any couple, any marriage in the beginning when you live with someone, because it's like you meet someone, you go on a honeymoon, and you're all living together in a matter of days. So even if you were to date someone for a couple of years and then you move in together, you would still try to figure each other out. And that's a learning process, and it's not easy to live with someone. And that's all this is. And it doesn't mean because she dictates to you on how to make the bed that she's always going to be that way. She's going to learn, okay, he doesn't like it when I just sit back and I tell him how to make the bed. He wants me to be more involved in making the bed. Okay, then y'all can be more involved in making the bed. Or if y'all are not a good bed making team, maybe he makes the bed on Monday and then you make the bed on Tuesday, so then you can stay out of each other's way when you're making the bed. So it's just about learning each other, Johnny. It's not going to be perfect on day one. And your idea of this perfect person, Matt, Pastor Calton, that doesn't even exist. So you already are going to not be happy with her because she doesn't live up to your superhuman expectations. She's not, no one is that. No one is ever going to fit the mold. No one will ever find the perfect person. I know, with me, when I was younger, when I was in college, I'd envision the perfect husband for me. That guy doesn't exist. He does not exist. It doesn't exist. And I think with these people are married at first sight, things would be a lot better for them if they made that commitment to, if you already have decided, I'm going to be with you, we're going to be together, unless it's something abusive, whether it's emotional, verbal, mental, or physical abuse, unless it's like that. If you make that decision, we're married, we're going to stick it out, I think it might be a little bit easier to work at your problems when you already have that in mind, that the goal is to stay together. The goal isn't for me to kind of feel it out and see if I like it or not. The goal is to stay together. The goal is on decision day, we're both going to choose marriage. That's the goal. That's what we're going to work towards. If they go into it thinking that way, then, you know, maybe a lot of them would be more successful. Anyways, Ryan and Brett. So I don't want to go into too much detail with these people because I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself every step of the way. Let's talk about, okay, so Ryan and Brett. So Ryan has an issue with, telling Brett exactly how he's feeling in this process. He doesn't want to hurt her feelings because of her history with men previously hurting her. And so he's very sensitive to that, which is appreciative, that he is aware of what she's been through and he's sensitive to that and he's acknowledging that. And I think with Ryan, his whole issue is that he's not attracted to her. And I think he's letting that determine whether or not he wants to be with her. Just based on attraction. He's used to a certain kind of woman. He said it several times. In fact, his sister even asked him if it was a beautiful Victoria's Secret model that was leaving her junk all around and not cooking and not cleaning, you know, would you have an issue with how messy they were? Because he was telling his sister that she's really messy. And he made a joke, but I think it was kind of serious. He made a joke. He was like, oh, if it was a Victoria's Secret model, you know, I'd do the dishes. I'd do all the cooking. I'd wash her clothes. I'm paraphrasing. I think so with Ryan, I think he's just not physically attracted to her. I think he's tried to build up an attraction for her and it's just not working. And I think because he's so focused on the physicality, he can't get past that crap to be able to see the human that she is. Because I think that Brett likes him. I think she's willing to make it work with him. But there's maybe sometimes people are just oil and water and they'll never get along. I don't know. But I think that because you don't feel this raging, uncontrollable, physical, animalistic attraction to her, you've already written her off. But why don't you try to do romantic things with her and see if you can build that attraction? He doesn't even touch her. I don't think they even have, I think other than the honeymoon, I don't think they kissed. And at the honeymoon, he had those feelings. He was excited to see her. He was excited about her. He had those feelings. But I think when she turned him down with the intimacy, I think it turned him all the way off. I kind of feel like he was like, well, if I can't get on the honeymoon, then I'm just not interested. That's what I think. And so because he didn't get any on the honeymoon, he doesn't have any reason to really stay with her because I don't think he's really trying to get to know her as a person because she's already made up her mind that she's not. Well, no, not really, because she said that he's not initiating anything and that she wants him to initiate because she does feel an attraction for him. She wants him to initiate something, but he's not. And of course, I don't think she's going to put herself out there. So I just don't know. I mean, she's a nice person. Yeah, she's kind of messy, but that can be fixed. We can work on that. So I don't understand, like, I just feel like he's on a track. I think he's used to a certain kind of woman. I think he's used to kind of like a bimbo-ish type woman, blonde woman. I think that's maybe more of his thing, kind of airheady, you know, cute, small, petite, blonde, big boobs. Maybe that's more of his thing. And she's definitely not that. And so I just don't think he's trying hard enough. And I think it's really shallow of him that he's going to let the physicality, when she's not the ugliest woman in the world, you know, she's cute, that he's going to let the physicality get in the way. So he really struggles with telling her how he feels, but he decides that he's going to have to do it. So they're having a conversation on the couch, and I found out for the first time that they don't sleep in the same room. He sleeps on the couch, and the couch did not look comfortable. But he sleeps on the couch, and she sleeps in the bedroom. And the spare bedroom is she uses as basically her second closet. She puts all her junk in there. And so he starts off by telling her that he's not getting enough sleep. It's hard for him to sleep on the couch. And I guess he was trying to tell her, and I don't know why he just didn't come out and say, I want to sleep in the other room. Oh, he did. He says, the reason why I'm not sleeping in the other room is because I don't think it's fair for you. I guess it looks more like it solidifies that there's a problem if he slept in the other bedroom. But it's not that big of a problem if he sleeps on the couch. I didn't get that. Either way, you're not sharing the room. And what is so bad about sharing a room with your wife? I mean, you don't have to do anything. If you're not comfortable doing anything, fine, you don't have to have sex, but why can't you share a room with your wife? You did it on the honeymoon, but you want to be far away from her as possible, which I think is even more cruel. You'd rather sleep on an uncomfortable couch than share a comfortable bed with Brett. How does that make any sense? I don't understand. Just like in the other previous seasons when we had husbands who refused to share beds with their wives, or wives who refused to share beds with their husbands, why can't y'all share the same bed? It doesn't mean you have to have sex. You're just sharing a bed. You have sleepovers as kids. You share beds with your siblings. Anyway, so he's going to move into the spare room. And Brett said that she is not. To me, what I interpreted from Brett when she said is that she wanted him to say exactly what's on his mind and exactly what's in his heart. When she said that, I interpreted it as her saying, I'm not going to make it easy for him. I'm not going to walk away from this to make it easy for him. I'm not going to come out and be like, oh, you're not comfortable? Yeah, we should get a divorce. I'm not going to do that. He's going to get the guts, and he's going to be the one to tell me, those difficult words. He's going to have to say them to me. I'm not going to make it easier for him. And so I'm glad that Brett didn't cry, because I was worried that she was going to cry when they're having that conversation of him struggling. He says that, he doesn't want to pretend like something is there when it's not, because that's just not him. And then she asked him, well, are you open to it? Are you open to trying? And he says, I was open to it until I wasn't open to it anymore, because I just wasn't feeling it. And I feel so bad for Brett, because from what I've seen, she's not a bad catch. And okay, so maybe she's not his cup of tea, but I don't really see. And Brett, he's so stoic. He's so deadpan. His face has no expression at all. And even when his face doesn't change expression, he could be telling you, my grandmother died. I just won $1 million. I just bought a new hot Ferrari car and I love it. And it's like his expression is still the same no matter what. And I'm like, okay, you're talking about how you don't feel this. I wish Brett would just talk more about the issues that she's having with Ryan. But she doesn't. She says that she's attracted to him. He keeps himself fit. He has an all right kind of sort of body. And she's expecting more from him, but he's not giving. I wish Brett would talk more about the issues that she has with Ryan. Like, he's so easy to talk. He likes to talk about the issues that he has with her. And then when he said that it's not really her, because he said that, it's not you. It's got nothing to do with you. These feelings that I'm having, what I'm struggling with, it's got nothing to do with you. And I'm like, it's got everything to do with her. What do you mean it's got nothing to do with her? You're not happy with her. You're not attracted to her. You're struggling because you have no feelings for her. What do you mean it's got nothing to do with her? Like, it's not you, it's me kind of nonsense. So, yeah, I don't see... I don't see much happening there. So now we're moving on to Jose and Rachel. Jose and Rachel are fine until Summer Rachel comes out. So they go to so they're having breakfast, and whatever they cooked did look delicious. That breakfast did look good. So they were talking about, their different traveling styles. And so she said that while they were having breakfast, that she wanted to have a European trip. And then he said he wants to go to Texas. He literally said, I want to go to Texas, but they live in Texas. And I guess what he meant was he wants to travel across the state of Texas, because Texas is so huge and you can go through so many different geography, culture, so many different types of cities. And he wants to travel throughout Texas. And her idea of a vacation is going to Europe, which is like most of us. His idea of a vacation is driving through Texas. Then they go to a winery later. And that's when they have this discussion about Summer Rachel, and because she's in the educational industry. She's not, I don't know if she's a teacher, but she's in education, and so she gets the summers off. And she basically said, I'm warning you, Summer Rachel is coming, and you don't want to make Summer Rachel mad, because Summer Rachel has a lot of time on her hands, and I get bored really easily, and basically her patience is really short. And so he got really worried. He was like, "What do you mean I gotta brace?" Because she told him, "You need to brace yourself for Summer Rachel." And he looked at her like, "What do you mean I gotta brace myself? What does that mean?" And I wonder if he's thinking that if she gets bored, if she's gonna cheat, because she said that she cheated on a past boyfriend, and not only that, she called him by another man's name. And I wonder, what name did she call him? Did she call him by her ex's name, or did she call him by one of the other husband's names on the show? I never got that. That wasn't clear to me. But that's when he locked her out of the door, locked her out of the home. That's when he locked, but that was last episode, which is not this review. So, yeah, he's worried about Summer Rachel, and hopefully he'll have some activities planned for her, because she says, when you're at work and I'm at home all day, yeah, I'm going to get real bored and I'm going to get real cranky. So hopefully he'll have a nice, long, exhaustive list for things to do for Summer Rachel. But Rachel and Jose, to me, so far, they're okay. It can kind of go either way with them, because, Jose, he's kind of difficult to live with. He's very, very regimented. But hopefully everything will go okay with them. And I think I'm done with my review. So yeah, that's my review of Married at First Sight. And Mirla and Gil, love them. Bao and Johnny, I think Bao can do a whole lot better. Rachel, Jose, they're like even Steven for me right now. They're even Steven. Michaela and Zach, they're on the uprise. And Ryan and Brett, no hope. So if you like this review, if I entertain you just a tiny bit, give me a like. And if you really like it, go ahead and subscribe. It's okay. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.